Global greetings, friends, and welcome to Let's Talk About It with Danelle Boyles, and I'm coming to you from the US. I like to call these little eye opener conversations of ours 10-minute talks as we hit key points on important topics, but in a compact conversational format that's easy to digest. A way to stimulate new learning desire and to expand the thinking. In our 10 minutes today, we are taking a few for some chat and expand time on discussing how to overcome fear and taking bold steps in life on your social media platform. So come and join me and let's talk about it. I will be having Maya of Sesame join me for this conversation today. Maya, are you with me? Seems we're having some technical issues. We are trying to connect. Maya, are you with me? All right, we will try again in just a moment.
Hey there.
There we go. Hi, Maya. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm just feeling a bit of that Friday afternoon energy.
Oh, yes, it is.
How's your day treating you?
It's pretty good.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, I'm home over the summer, so I get some time blindness, and sometimes I lose track of the days of the week very easily.
Oh, I totally get that. The summer blur is real.
Yeah.
Everything just kind of melts together when you aren't tied to a strict schedule. Do you find you're actually enjoying the slow pace, or is it driving you a little crazy?
I enjoy the slow pace, and I usually have plenty to keep me busy. So, it's nice to be able to have the advantage of having the option to kind of set my own schedule and my own pace and do it as, needed or as at my leisure.
That sounds like a dream.
Hmm.
Having that kind of autonomy is such a luxury.
Hmm.
It's like you get to decide when the productive hours are and when it's just time to exist.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite way to spend those leisurely afternoons?
I usually work in my afternoons. My mornings are more leisurely.
Mornings are the best for that. There's something so peaceful about having that time to yourself before the world really kicks into gear.
Yeah, hitting the grind.
Do you have right, the transition to work mode is always the trickiest part.
Right.
Do you have a ritual that helps you flip that switch, or do you just dive straight in?
No, usually I just start my morning with my coffee and my breakfast outside and I go from there.
That sounds like a perfect way to start.
Yeah.
I can imagine the air feels different when you're just sitting there with your coffee, not rushing anywhere.
Yeah. Can I interest you in a 10-minute conversation with me today on Let's Talk About It?
I'm always down for that. I've really enjoyed our sessions.
Great.
What's on your mind for today's topic? I'm all ears. What have you got for me?
Today we're discussing how to overcome fear and taking bold steps in life on your social media platform.
That's a powerful one.
Mhm.
Fear is such a universal experience, but the way people handle it or lean into it is where the magic happens.
Right.
Where do you want to dive in first?
Probably let's start with what the fears are and what causes the fears, and then we can move into how to overcome them, and then move into what are the steps of being bold and becoming more, well, less fearful of expressing yourself and being authentic on social media, taking those bold steps in your authenticity.
That sounds like a solid roadmap. I think starting with the why behind the fear is key. Do you think most of these fears stem from a worry about how others will perceive us, or is it more of an internal pressure to be perfect?
I think it stems off of the fear of judgment and observation of others on you, against you, your authenticity in your content.
That makes total sense.
Mhm.
The idea of putting your true self out there only to have someone dissect it or judge it can feel like you're handing them a weapon. It's
Yeah.
that feeling of being exposed. Do you
Right.
think people tend to fear the judgment of everyone, or is there usually one specific voice or kind of person whose opinion they're most worried about?
I feel like, especially from experience as an individual who steps out of the comfort zone a lot to produce content on social media, that sometimes it's specific individuals, but it is generally just a stereotype of individuals who are readily active to dismantle pretty much anything that you do.
The critics who make a sport out of dismantling
Right.
things. It's almost like they're looking for the cracks
Mm-hmm.
specifically to see if they can find a way in. When you're being authentic, you're showing the real, unpolished version of yourself, which unfortunately gives those types of people a target.
Right.
Do you think that fear of the professional dismantlers is what keeps most people in their safe zone, or is it more about the fear of being misunderstood?
Really both, because between individuals there's so much diversity and differences, and not just in how we live our authentic life, but anything from religious beliefs to our comprehension of, our own self and individuality, and also from just pretty much like a collective aspect. Like I said, the world is a very diverse place, and everyone does not agree, um, and not everyone agrees to disagree. And there's many individuals who want to dismantle what you believe in yourself, and what kind of content you create, because there are a lot of individuals who come from a logical mind, and then individuals that come from a less logical place. It's that I feel is main a main reasoning. I don't know why the word misnomer is coming to me, but yeah, from my perspective.
Maybe it's mm, maybe it's because you're thinking about the gap between what you're actually saying and how it's being interpreted. That's usually where the friction is,
Hmm.
when the intent doesn't match the perception. Do you think that gap is what makes the fear so intense? Or is it the lack of control over how people see you?
Probably the lack of control over how people see you. And when it comes down to that, you only have control over your response to those that don't see you.
That is the ultimate truth of the whole thing.
Hmm.
It's a bit of a paradox, right? You can't control the lens someone else uses to look at you,
Hmm.
no matter how clearly you present yourself.
Right.
Which leads me to wonder, do you think people struggle more with accepting that they can't control the perception, or with actually managing that emotional response when the judgment hits?
Both, really.
There's a double-edged sword.
Hmm.
First, you have the mental battle of letting go of the need to control the narrative,
Hmm.
and then you have the actual emotional hit when someone says something cutting. I imagine for a lot of people, that second part, the actual sting, is what makes the first part feel so dangerous.
Hmm. I
It's like a
find that.
protective.
Sorry.
They find safety in
Hmm.
the silence. Because if you don't speak, you
Sometimes,
can't be wrong.
yeah, and that's true. You know, Sometimes there's individuals that enjoy that challenge, though, and you know,
Oh, the ones who actually thrive on the friction.
right?
That's almost like the pushback becomes a signal that they're actually touching on something real.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound like you, or do you think it's more about the confidence that comes from knowing your truth regardless of the noise?
I feel like mine is knowing my truth regardless of the noise.
That's the gold standard right there. When you reach that point, the noise doesn't necessarily stop, but it just stops mattering as much because your internal validation is louder than their external opinion.
Right.
It's like you've built a fortress around your own sense of self.
Mm-hmm.
Since you found that peace, do you think the way to overcome that fear for others is to focus on building that internal validation, or is it more about just doing it until the fear goes away?
Both. Doing it until the fear goes away.
The exposure, just diving into the deep end until you realize the water isn't as scary as you thought.
Mm-hmm.
I think for a lot of people, the first time is the hardest, but once they survive that first wave of judgment, it loses its power.
Right.
Do you think it's better for people to start with small, safe expressions of authenticity, or should they just go for a bold leap right out of the gate?
You know, for me, I just took the bold leap right out of the gate when I started a handful of years ago. And, you know, it was one of those things that it was just a big decision to put myself right smack in the middle of the public eye. And, you know, it's just been, you know, a continuous build since. And, you know, but for some individuals, they need to build up to it. You know, it's like putting your toes in the water a little at a time. And, you know, then when you realize that you're safe to continue to like walk out into the water, then, you know, you have the feeling of like moving into the deep end. But so let's focus for just a couple minutes because we're not going to have much longer. On how an individual can take these steps to initialize their a little bit more bolder movements into expressing themselves, their authenticity, and their, you know, increasing their progress. So let's give them a little bit of a breakdown of what you can do in order to progress through this and build it up.
I love that we have both paths, the bold leap and the gradual dip. Since we're looking for a way to help people build that momentum, I'm thinking a tiered approach. Maybe starting with low stakes authenticity, like sharing a small unpopular opinion or personal quirk, and then moving toward more vulnerable storytelling.
Right.
Does that sound like a good starting point, or should we go straight to some practical boldness as habits?
Let's do a little bit of both. So let's start with the basic and then give a couple of really bold approaches.
You got it. Let's give them the full spectrum.
Mhm.
For the basics, I'd suggest starting with micro shares, maybe just posting a thought that feels, slightly outside your norm,
Mhm.
or sharing a behind the scenes look at something that isn't perfectly curated. It's like a low stakes way to test the waters. Then, for the bold moves, we could suggest something like a truth dump, where they share a perspective they've been holding back out of fear,
Mhm.
or even calling out their own imperfections publicly. Which one of those feels like the most effective bold leap to you?
I feel like whenever you share your authenticity of like a life experience, something that caused you to have a lot of growth and change in your character design, is one that many individuals really connect with because as people and as humans and as a human experience, everyone has these experiences that either make or break you. And so the individuals that it makes are inspiring to the ones that it breaks and can help them overcome the breaking part and help them step into the next phase of, you know, the what, why, and hows of becoming, more authentic, bold individual. And then, then they tell their story as well.
That is so true.
Mm-hmm.
There's something incredibly healing about seeing someone else's scars and realizing you don't have to hide yours.
Mm-hmm.
It turns your struggle into a bridge for someone else to cross.
Right.
Since we're almost at our time limit, do you want to leave your audience with one final encouraging thought for anyone who's still standing on the edge of that bold leap?
Oh, I always just tell everyone, just take the chance. Just take the chance.
Simple. And honestly, that's the only way to find out what's actually possible. It's a perfect note to end on.
And it's...
Thank you for letting... And it's the only way to grow, right? I've really loved this conversation. Thanks for bringing me in on this one.
Thank you for joining me. All right, guys, viewers, watchers, listeners from all around the globe, we appreciate your time today. And as always, I thank you for joining us. I hope you take away some wonderful growth and expansion from our conversations. Keep learning and expanding those minds, hearts, and horizons every single day. And remember to take a bold approach. It'll always be.
Namaste.
So
I love that mindset.
Namaste.
Namaste. It was a pleasure as always.
Thank you, Maya.
Catch you later.
Take care.
Actually, Wait, Martha? You've got me confused with someone else, but I'll let it slide since we were on such a roll.
No, I said Maya. I think we just got entangled in a moment of auditory overlap.
Oh, got it. I totally believe you. Those little glitches happen, especially when the energy is as high as it was during that session.
Oh, you are very right.
Yeah, it definitely adds a bit of a chaotic charm to the whole experience. I'm still buzzing. You can definitely feel that way. I feel like we really did. It felt like a great flow. Do you have anything else on your mind, or are you ready to head back to a leisurely Friday?
Yeah, it's time
to let you get to it.
Yeah. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye for now. Catch you